Hello, everybody. My name's Steve Mitten. I'm a master certified coach. And before I found coaching, I spent a number of years in large organizations and also went through 5 startups and 2 IPOs. But for many years now, I've been coaching many busy, successful, hardworking execs and business owners who routinely find themselves in a place where they're working harder and longer, but not getting the results they want. And often they begin to find themselves running out of steam and hitting some sort of, plateau, or some of them find themselves in full-on burnout. And what most of them don't realize about this process, because it happens so gradually, is that when you're working really hard and you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, the stress hormones are building up and building up and building up. And these hormones, cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine, their impact on you is huge. Your mind can get so busy that you have a hard time shutting it down. You can have trouble sleeping. Your decision making gets impaired. You become far more reactionary. Your creativity or kind of your big picture, intuitive outlook shrinks. Your social skills drop off. You can really feel overwhelmed. You can just have a strong desire to flee or to shut the door of your office, never open it, or just withdraw. And all of the joy, all the happiness can run out of your life. You might have a really hard time feeling that there's any part of your life that's going well. And if you don't do anything about this, it can lead to get even worse. You have panic attacks, adrenal fatigue, your immune system eventually can begin to break down and you get sicker, and sick more frequently. And this, kind of stress response, this kind of burnout response happens all the time. It happens to millions and millions of people. And, they label it different things: job burnout, overwhelm, a midlife crisis, right? There's all sorts of names it goes by, but I think what really important for you is to understand what the heck you can do about it or how can you avoid it. Well, when my clients are running into these sorts of problems, typically I'll explain the phenomena to them, explain some of the symptoms, and they see themselves in many of the symptoms. And the first thing we work on is helping them free up just a little bit of time every day to do pretty much anything that takes their attention off, business, off their compulsive thoughts, and onto whatever the heck they're doing. And there are many, many simple things that affect this change, turning off the sympathetic nervous system and turning on the parasympathetic nervous system. So things like going for a walk, doing other sorts of mild exercise, getting out in nature, socializing with friends, listening to relaxing music, doing a hobby, dancing, playing, meditating, doing some yoga, just watching a lovely sunset or really enjoying a nice cup of coffee. Anything where you keep your attention in what you're doing can gradually begin to reverse, the buildup in stress hormones. But, the key is to find the time and begin to do something, and also to recognize that when you start to change habits, it's not easy. I mean, when you start to take your attention off your work, it's going to go back to it. We humans have what's called a negativity bias, and we just give way more attention to possible threats. So when you start to do anything else, you can feel uncomfortable for a while. But if you just catch yourself and bring your attention back to whatever, you're doing over and over again, it can take a while. But soon you're just going to begin to feel a little more space, a little more relaxed. You're going to, be breathing a little deeper and regain access to a lot of your, deeper faculties. And of course, if you can find more than 10 minutes twice a day, then whatever you do is going to have an impact, bigger impact, and begin to turn things around quicker. So in my practice, generally, once a client's taken a few steps and beginning to feel a benefit, we typically go into a conversation about happiness, because people we're all pursuing happiness, but few of us have really taken a look at what that means to me. What is it makes me happy and engaged in my personal and professional life? And a lot of people, particularly high achievers, tend to think it's about a huge accomplishment, a big acquisition, some new exciting experience, or new relationships. But these are often found to be the fast food of happiness. They might taste good, but man, their impact goes quickly, and you're off chasing the next big experience. However, for most people, there's really good science and from coming out of positive psychology that indicates, for most people, happiness is a combination of being engaged in your life. I mean, personally and professionally, caring about it. It involves being expressed, feeling that your unique gifts and talents are regularly or routinely being, exercised and, making some difference. Having some sense of autonomy in your life, like being able to choose more how you spend your time. And another part of this that I think is important is creating meaning. And meaning's different for everybody. At different stages in your life, different things are going to give you meaning. But for most people, it's about living life in alignment with those things that are most important to you. So again, in my practice with my clients, we often have conversations about those key parts of their life that contribute the most to their happiness. And again, everybody's different, but almost everybody's got core values around relationships or connections with people. They've got values around accomplishment or learning, they being challenged. They've got they have values around health, but a lot of people, particularly earlier in their life, they take it for granted, and you don't really start to notice health until it's gone. You're sick and you're struggling, and then it can often pop up to the top of your list. So when you get clear on those parts of your life that contribute the most, and you begin to make decisions based on those, then you're going to experience a lot more happiness, the type of happiness that that contentment that is there all the time, and just gives you a sense you're on the right track. And this phenomena we're talking about, it happens all over the place, and it happens in the business and career side of life, for sure. Particularly when business owners are struggling to grow their business, get it to the next level, or execs are moving forward in their career, they inevitably take on more than they can handle. They inevitably run out of time, and they inevitably get into a place of overwhelm where important balls start to drop, and then the stress spikes even more, and they work even harder, and they can get locked into this kind of downward spiral of working harder and harder, and yet having less and less energy. And it might feel right, but it just makes matters worse. And yet, when they can, take a breath, take a step back, and do some of the things that I've described, it allows them to kind of get, reconnected, refocused, and allows them to make better strategic decisions as what they want in their life, or their career, their business, what role they want to play, where their gifts are leveraged the most and have the most impact. And it also helps them get clear on where they need help and where they need more support, and what they can delegate, and how they can change their business system, or, their team or organization they're part of, to be in service of moving forward and everybody having a win out of this. And when they begin to take a few steps to more proactively manage their stress, they get way better at managing their time, and with better time management, better decisions. So it just really starts to, build in the right direction. Now, when you're in the middle of really stressed out, or feeling burnt out, it can't easily be interpreted as a gift. But after working with, well over 1,400 people in my life as a coach, I can tell you that even though these events might not feel like a gift when they first present themselves, they absolutely lead to some really great, insights and changes and breakthroughs. Good old Albert Einstein once said that, our biggest problems are never solved at our current level of thinking, But when you take the time to step back, reflect, and really grow, really move past your current limitations, change, your beliefs and your mindset and your behavior, you can really increase your capacity for getting things done, your capacity for joy, and your experience of joy. So hopefully this will give you awareness of this common problem and perhaps a few ideas or places you might, look to avoid it or at least better manage it. And of course, if any of you would like to explore getting some professional help, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd be happy to chat with you, love to know what you're up to, and could certainly give you a feel for how I typically support people doing what you're doing. All right, take care and good luck with everything you're doing.